have you with us in this edition of the Urban Debate. We're going to start off with the spotlight on social media regulations. A worldwide debate that's raging on. Each of the countries figuring out their own sets of rules, regulations. How is it that we can make social media a better place with less of hate, less of cyberbullying, less of trolling on these platforms? And to what extent can we make the social media platforms themselves accountable? It cannot be left to just them. That is a given that most people would agree that if you just depend on the social media platforms to actually clean up their platforms, get rid of all such content, problematic content, and act against people, bots, trolls, all of them, that can't be done because we've seen they have repeatedly failed in doing so. So what is it that the Australian government is looking at right now? They're looking at bringing in a law to make the social media giants provide the details of users who post defamatory comments. The new law will have a complaints mechanism so that if somebody thinks they are being defamed, bullied, or attacked on social media, they will be able to ask the platform to not just take down that content, but also there will be a provision where the social media companies will have to reveal the data of such anonymous users. So they will actually hold social media giants accountable, considering them as publishers. They'll be liable for comments that are published on their platforms. Essentially, the government is trying to bring down the amount of cyberbullying and defamatory content that you see there. And in Australia, there has been a bit of a battle going on with social media giants and the government for several months. This is just the latest one that is coming in. There is also going to be a provision where the court can ask the platform to share the details of these problematic account users. This comes after the highest court in Australia ruled that publishers can be held liable for public comments on their forums. And soon after that, the Australian Prime Minister said that the online world shouldn't be and cannot act like the Wild West, that bots and bigots and trolls cannot be allowed. If this is not allowed in real life, it definitely cannot be allowed on the digital life. The social media giants need to make platforms more safe and figure out how they're going to deal with trolls. We're going to look at what the Australian government is proposing and see if there are some things that we can also adopt. If there is a template for rest of the world, we'll also look at what our own relatively new rules and guidelines say, how much do they protect us, and if there are any other nations who are doing something much more significant. I say good evening to Subimal Bhattacharjee, cyber expert, joining me this evening, Kanish Gaur, founder of the India Future Foundation, and Dr. Pavan Duggal, cyber law expert, also joining me this evening. Let me go across to Dr. Pavan Duggal first. Dr. Duggal, how do you see what the Australian government is looking at right now?
At the right step in the right direction. They have made very, very clear that they don't want any kind of trolling happening. And if trolling is happening, it's the bounden responsibility of the service provider to ensure that they give the real identity of the concerned persons. Till now, the service providers have had a kind of a mixed, ambivalent kind of approach. But ever since September 2021, the High Court of Australia has made these publishers or these service providers as publishers and liable for criminal action. That's where now this new law comes in. I think if this comes in, it comes in as a breath of fresh air to all those affected persons who become victims of these kinds of constant trolling, harassment, and constant defamation that's happening on these networks. And clearly, the time has come for data intermediaries and service providers across the world to realize that their timings of their honeymoons with their respective national cyber legal frameworks is now slowly getting over. More and more countries are now increasingly waking up to the need for making these service providers more responsible, more accountable for what's happening on their network. And it's the quicker these service providers start working in this direction, the better it is. Of course, Australia has gone much farther ahead. India is still pretty much behind as far as Australia is concerned. But Australia can provide a number of pointers which leaves can be taken out from the Australian book as far as the Indian ecosystem is concerned, because India is all about paper tiger laws, no implementation, and the effective remedy is completely deprived to the concerned victim, who's the victim of these kinds of cyberbullying or cyber defamatory tactics.
Since you've brought up that point, and that was actually going to be my next question, so let me take that across to Subimal Bhattacharjee. Mr. Bhattacharjee, to explain it to our viewers, how is it different from what we have in India? Also, the new guidelines say that each of these portals or giants should have a grievance redressal cell. There needs to be specific people who are supposed to be appointed. You need to respond within 15 days. You need to take action within a fortnight, if I'm not mistaken. This system exists. What else can we bring in that Australia is right now looking at?
So if you look at the main focus of the Australian legislation that is expected in Parliament early next year, it is the focus on, how do you control online trolling? So I would, think that I would differ a little bit with my good friend, Dr. Pawan Duggal, that I think, when we brought in the intermediary guidelines notification in February this year, I think we went far much more in terms of comprehensive coverage of what all or how the social media should be guided. For example, in this effort that the Australians are trying to do, they are not wanting their companies to, proactively monitor posts online or pull them down, but have to respond to the complaints that are made. By and large, even, we have also brought in a time-bound, response that is required from the social media intermediaries, because they have always been, found not to be responsive to, of course, the individual request, but even to the law enforcement request. So while we brought in the intermediary stringent rules for many, as you would say, but when we and we have shown that this time we meant I would say not to remain a paper tiger, but at least implement a few of them, as you have seen the public spat also that has happened with the social media intermediaries, who by and large still feel that it should be their my way or the highway kind of an approach. So I think that while we have the IT Act, which of course needs a massive amendment, where I would agree with Mr. Duggal always, but along with that, the intermediary guidelines that we have brought, leaving aside aspects such as traceability and the due diligence and the additional due diligence by significant social media intermediaries that we are defining. We have tried to encapsulate the scenarios so that all the situations under which our freedom of expression remains, the exclusions under Article 2 of our 19.2 of our Constitution. I think we have tried to go far much beyond what the Australians are looking, where they are looking at online trolling per se, not even anything bigger in terms of looking at almost all kinds of content on the social media.
All right, fair enough. Now let's take a look at it from another aspect, and I also say good evening to Kanishk Kaur, who's joining me right now. Kanishk, basis what we have and what the Australian government is looking at, one question that many are asking is, how will you, and who decides whether the comment is defamatory enough for the platform to reveal the details of the user? Will you have to go to court, or will there be a committee that the platform sets up? How will this work?
Safety Commission. The e-Safety Commissioner is there, Julian Inman Grant. She has the authority, and they have set up specific laws which protect the rights of women, children. So any kind of content which violates the online safety of women, children, elderly, that particular body can take a call basis the Australian law. So the implementation part becomes really easy, specifically within Australia, because they already have a regulatory body which is monitoring it, which can allow the content to be posted on their website, the E-Safety Commission's website. However, if you look at India, India has only looked at the intermediary guidelines from a national security perspective when it comes to safeguarding women, children, safeguarding elderly, or even the youth from any kind of abuse. I think the laws require further modification. We have just been focused on fake news and misinformation. I disagree with my fellow panelists here, because currently it's very difficult for individuals to get content taken down. At India Future Foundation, I receive so many requests today from people where there is willfully content posted against them. They are abused, and this content does not get taken down because it is not as per the policies of social media platforms, and it continues to be live. Whereas this law in Australia makes it mandatory, one, for platforms to report who has done this, right? And also take down the content. If it is not done, there is a liability on the platform. In India, I don't think so there is liability on the platform per se for taking down, if they don't take down any kind of trolling, bullying, or abuse which is happening to individuals. So safeguard for citizens is a big aspect which I see in the Australian law. If Indian government can make certain modifications with the intermediary guidelines and include this aspect, that will be wonderful. Because today there is organized
so how would that
trolling
be,
and bullying
Ganesh?
which happens.
What you're saying? How would we tweak ours? Would we also have to then? Should we also look at a clause that makes them liable and penalizes them or fines them if they don't act?
Yes. So not only makes them liable, but also creates a guideline for taking down content, right? This is so with respect to taking down content which is trolling anyone, bullying anyone, and also reporting who's doing it. Today, it's very difficult to find out who are the people who are sitting behind the computer or a device and doing this in an organized manner. And we have discussed this multiple times with you, Tanvi, about this, organized, hateful, vengeance, violence, which happens. So a modification in the law which takes care of the interest of Indian citizens will be a step in the right direction, and it will also bring out safeguards for individuals. It will create more liability for the platform to take more action. Today, if you go to any platform, they say, sorry, our artificial intelligence algorithm did not detect this. We do not believe this is against our policies, norms. So their laws, their policies, norms is against the human rights. It's against the fundamentals of the constitution. It's against the fundamentals of the citizens of this country. So that aspect has to be really taken into account, so that users at the end of the day who are creating so much amount of business for platforms, their rights are also taken into consideration.
Okay, so then making them accountable, liable, putting the onus, ensuring that they do define specifically the kind of content that needs to pull down. And you're right, Ganesh, because often I've also seen the response that comes through is so vague. When they refuse to pull down content or block a certain post, the response is just so vague that there is no further scope left there for any conversation or to push and understand why. So maybe that's one aspect that we need to look at and force them to design those guidelines and define those categories very, very closely. The other aspect, and Mr. Pawan Duggal, I come back to you on that, is social media platforms refusing to put in as much of resources as is required to handle these complaints or to handle such issues. Even today in Australia, the question that is being asked is, what if Facebook refuses to, comply with these guidelines and exit? And the Prime Minister responded saying, well, that just shows that they are not interested in pulling down problematic content from their platforms. But one big argument is they don't invest enough in markets outside US to have the resources to tackle this issue. Can the governments then ensure that that is done?
Clearly, the governments have the power to ensure that these service providers put in adequate amount of resources in compliance with the applicable law. Look, it's all a question of how effective are you going to be, what's your political will, and whether you want to fully enforce your provisions of law or not. to take the example of India. India is the biggest market for any of these big companies, whether it's Facebook or whether it's WhatsApp or even Twitter. Now, if this is the biggest market from where you are generating huge volumes of your business and your revenues, then I think the government is very, very fair in asking you, please ensure compliance with the local applicable laws. And if you still are not wanting to do that, the onus is going to go back on the government. Now, that's where I find that there's a lack of appropriate enforcement in the Indian context. The Indian IT rules have Rule 7 of these rules criminal liability for these service providers if they not comply with the IT rules 2021. Further, they lose their statutory exemption from legal liability or Suraksha Kavach in case if they don't comply. But when I look at from 25th of February 2021 till today evening, just 4 FIRs against one service provider, which is Twitter, is not all that India really requires. There has been n number of non-compliances or contraventions of these rules, but because these rules have become as classical paper tigers, they are not being effectively enforced. And for that, ultimately, it has to come back to political will. In India, these IT rules are completely inadequate and are completely not in sync with the times. For example, under these Rule 3 of these IT rules, they're telling you if you have a grievance, should somebody defame you, send them a complaint in writing to the grievance officer and wait for 15 odd days for them to take action. And if they don't take action, then you go to court of law. So first and foremost, you are a victim of continuing cyber defamation and trolling. Number two, the law wants you to keep on waiting and suffering in ignominy and silence this constant cyber defamation or cyber trolling for the next 15 days, and then wait for the mercy of the service provider that in case if they so deem it necessary, they may want to remove such content. And if they choose not to remove such content, then you have a far more arduous task of going to court of law and trying to get a court order, which in India is a long process. You don't get any effective remedies. So clearly, we are now in a scenario where somewhere down the line, if you're not going to have effective political will, if you're not going to enforce existing provisions of law, which are thoroughly inadequate, I believe, you are not going to really be very much successful. We don't have any dedicated law on cyber defamation, nor on cyber trolling, nor on cyber nuisance, nor on cyber harassment. There are some odd provisions here or there under the IT Act or the Indian Penal Code, but they are neither exhaustive nor are they sufficient in today's scenario. So at the time when the majority of Indians are today crying in silence, the time has come for the law to become their savior of their rights and for fighting for their protection. And for that, in case if the government requires, it can actually take criminal action against them. What is the harm in stripping the statutory exemption legal liability of all these intermediaries and face the consequences? But clearly, we in India do love to come up with new rules and regulations, but we forget about the enforcement. And with the result, it's just yet another chapter of some publicity, some noise, some debate, and then things are forgotten once and for all. So I think India needs to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Just 3 or 4 FIRs that were filed. Since then, we haven't seen any significant action or government seeking this accountability. Ganesh, do you agree with what Mr. Duggal is saying as the way forward in terms of government really pushing through and taking a tougher stand?
No, I agree with Mr. Pavan Duggal. See, we need a cyber safety commission which has the authority, one, to investigate, and they'll tell the platforms to take down content. It can also create more awareness. A lot of times people are unaware whether they are being trolled or bullied, and they get into depression. We have seen teenagers in this country committing suicide because they have been trolled or bullied online. So an e-safety commission like the Australia has, if a body like this is created in India, it will be easier for Indian government to implement and monitor such laws or guidelines. And as Mr. Pavan Duggal explained, these are just paper law, 4 FIRs that have happened. But the organized trolling, bullying which happens in this country, and a lot of times we have seen the victims taking the extreme steps, they do not get recorded. There is no safety measure which exists today. People are not even aware about their basic rights. Right? People don't know what kind of content to post, what not to post. Can something be more harmful, vengeance? Those aspects must be taken into account, like we have the other rules on IPC. Similarly, on the cyber safety side, the government needs to do more and put up a body. Once the data protection bill comes in, I think this aspect will be looked in much seriously, because privacy of users will be an important element. And a lot of times privacy does get invaded and compromised when such attacks happen online. And the platforms a lot of time don't disclose who are the people who are behind this, who have done this. So if you are, say, having a Twitter account, and if you create it from an email, which is a safe email where the email ID is not revealed, it's very difficult to find out who's the person behind who is doing this willfully, and people just post content. Similarly, if a number is there, somebody can just use a number, create a Twitter account, and start trolling people sitting anywhere. There is no legal recourse today where you can actually put these people behind bars, and they do it in an organized manner. When it comes to celebrities, when it comes to politicians, we talk about this. We have spoken about this n number of times. But when the common man gets trolled in this country on social media, I don't see we have taken enough measures to safeguard them. And that is the need of the hour at this point of time.
So because you made this point, when I was trying to understand what it is that Australia is looking at and the multiple sides to it, Mr. Sobimal Bhattacharjee, one aspect that was also raised was what information will they reveal about the user, and does it have to go beyond an email ID and a phone number? Who will verify it? And does that mean that then these social media giants will end up collecting a lot more data, which is problematic?
Yeah, I think as part of the exercise, what information would be corrected is still now media speculation there. But what you said, obviously these parameters are definitely there. And I think, yes, of course, as far as trolling is concerned, this is a big issue here. With all the fairness and proportionality that it is possible, we really need to go after all the trollers. After all, much of the trolling, the nuisance, and the kind of vulgarity with which such trolls play havoc in many of the networks in this country, I think they need attention. As both would agree that we are putting laws and rules, we need to implement them, even in terms of the significant social media intermediaries, the clause 4, where they have to even proactively deploy technology so that rape and child sex and all those related aspects that could be proactively identified by them. But these are the things that really need proper implementation from the government side, because while we have been I can say trying to understand the gravity of the problem, and mind you that many things around the vulnerable section, particularly around children getting impacted by that, had the attention of no less than the Vice President of the country, who formed a committee under, I think it was Mr. Jairam Ramesh, and they gave 50 recommendations. Unfortunately, while it is said that most of them had been incorporated, when these guidelines were brought in, but I don't think, anything really significantly has happened to look at that aspect. So most importantly, we need to look at the legal framework, the legal ecosystem in a very, very, I would say, comprehensive manner. The data protection, the personal data protection bill, it gets delayed and delayed. It should be brought in and passed. It will give some level of, I would say, comfort, because the social media and their roles are also being covered under certain sections there. But looking comprehensively at so many of the areas, some of the challenges that have come in recent times, and much of the challenges are also due to a lackadaisical implementation, I think the government has to be far much more proactive.
Is there also a case here, Pawan Duggal, that whatever is being done in whichever part is far too less and far too slow. I mean, of course, in the internet, on these platforms, millions of users and accounts exist, and things change on a daily basis. It's just very difficult. And that's what the argument is from the social media giants, that it's very difficult to, keep up pace and keep bringing down the content. We are doing our best. Is there a case to be also made about how slowly the governments are moving in making these guys actually take action?
The governments are not in sync with the requirements of times. For them, a 15-day delay in trying to pull down defamatory content is okay. Now, ask the guy whose reputation is brought to tears. Constant cyber defamation or cyber trolling that's happening on a 24/7 basis. Well, I think earlier rules were pretty much defective. They were talking about 30-day time frame. They have been very magnanimous enough to reduce it to 15 days in terms of the service provider taking action. But then also these timelines are completely out of sync with what is the hopes and the aspirations of people at large. Today, if something wrong is written about any person, his expectation is that it ought to be down in the next 24 hours, to say the least. But if you're going to wait for 15 days, then go to court of law and then get a court order, which would take a couple of months, if not years, you are clearly resigned to your fate. That, of course, I think is definitely not the correct approach. I think these service providers need to know that India is a huge country. Let them, if they are milking the market of this country, they also have a bounden duty to ensure that Indians do not become guinea pigs of these kind of experimentations. And therefore, the onus goes back to the government. Under Section 87 of the IT Act, if the government wants, the government can mandate that these service providers will remove this content within 6 to 8 hours. And of course, if there's some misuse, go ahead against the guy who's misusing the so-called complaint mechanism. But for a majority of the people, this could be an effective remedy. If something bad is written about you, or something defamatory or trolling is written about you, and you complain, within the next 4 hours, everything gets taken off clearly. And clearly, the service providers have the requisite artificial intelligence algorithms, the requisite mechanisms to pull it down. Because if they're able to do that in the context of copyright, why can't they do this in the context of content which is hateful, content which is defamatory or trolling in nature? But because they realize that they have had a long honeymoon under the Indian cyber law from 2008 till 2021 February, and even from 21 February, the honeymoon is slowly withering away, but it's still out there because the government is not taking action. So I see no really urgency on the part of the service providers to start investing on appropriate mechanisms, processes, procedures to provide. Somehow, they are all still trying to hide behind the Supreme Court judgment in the case of Shreya Singhal versus Union of India, where these service providers even today say, guys, it's your own Supreme Court which is telling us, be a mere spectator. Do nothing till such time you get a court order or an order from a governmental agency. And so I'm doing nothing. Get me a court order or get me an order from a governmental agency. Now, that is clearly an unworkable proposition. That judgment was given in 2015. Today is end 2021. The ground realities have completely changed. The government, if it wants, and as I said, if it wants, it can take action. But because no action has yet been taken, forget about any new provisions. You are not even effectively implementing what you have currently come up with defective provisions. Then clearly, people tend to get resigned to their fates and say, look, this is what they will have to suffer in ignominy for the rest of their lives. I think that's not to be a very, very happy situation. It's time that the government comes up very strongly and wins the confidence of the people that this is the system that works and is going to provide me effective remedy. And service providers, if there's one test case of strong action against a couple of service providers in 1 or 2 instances, I think everybody else is going to follow the line and they will quickly start complying, because here you're doing nothing. You're asking them to remove content which is in violation of the law of the land.
Right.
So there's no obligation. There's no kind of, shall I say, privileged work that you're doing specifically for any person. So I think the time goes back to the government and the need for far more effective, proactive action in this regard that needs to be taken.
Okay, one aspect that you raised, which is about the fear or the concerns that many are raising about fake complaints or how the entire system can be misused. Kanishk, also a legitimate thing to look at that the platform providers will also have to consider, because when in an era where there are groups and organized narratives and campaigns, targeted campaigns, especially from the political groups as well, it can then become very easy to just go after somebody and constantly keep shutting them down.
That is one part, but the amount of trolling, bullying which is happening, which is getting ignored, the way people are suffering, that is humongous. For a small part of the problem, which could be an error, you cannot just refuse to address a particular problem in the country, which is the reality today. And this is something which everybody is experiencing. Even a common person can put up a request, but you need to have a mechanism, right? Once you have the mechanism, then only you can say this type of content is fake, real, or the complaint which is made is being done by somebody willfully. Those aspects will always be there, but this does not mean that you will not address this particular problem. In today's age, we have seen that everybody has social media accounts. A lot of people anonymize their accounts, they create fake accounts, and then they use it willfully for trolling or bullying people. Now, this activity they can continue to do unless there is a law which mandates social media platforms to share their identity, their contact numbers, their metadata. And this is what exactly the Australian government has done. They have ensured that this information is made available to the eSafety Commission, and action can be taken against platforms if they are not able to provide all of this information today. If I look at India today, there is no such mechanism. You have to go to the court, get a defamation notice. Getting that notice itself is a huge challenge, and a lot of people will not even go to that direction. They will just accept something is being said against them, and they will be bullied. This aspect needs to change. We are trying to not solve the problem, but continue to refuse this particular menace, which is going to impact everybody. And tomorrow there will be other aspects. We are talking about social media bullying, abuse. Tomorrow there will be election interference. There will be election interference through influencing people's sentiment in this country. That will be a bigger problem. And we've seen all of that already happening in the US. We have seen that happening in other countries. We have seen that happening in Europe. We have seen that happening in Malaysia as well. So that is the reality. And as Mr. Pavan Duggal told, that is the reality. Government has to agree and create more measures to safeguard the democracy, because it is not just about people, it is also about governments, because tomorrow government will get impacted when fake news, misinformation, bullying and trolling happens, not only against people, but also against leaders, if with anything they say. And we have seen some of this being live in certain cases that we have discussed. We saw some of this happening to some of our celebrities. So it's time that government takes appropriate action and makes those modifications in the intermediary guidelines, bring out certain procedures which can safeguard consumers.
Okay. But as we're debating social media regulation and the kind of laws we need to see, there is also news now breaking the internet from CNBC, which is quoting its own sources to say Jack Dorsey is likely to step down. So I think if we'll wait and watch to see how Twitter responds and if there's an official response, but the internet's completely, going crazy over this news right now being reported by CNBC. But thank you to all of you for joining me on this conversation. Irrespective of who leads which portal, what is essential is that as we go forward, governments move quickly to bring in regulations and to implement those regulations. It is important to safeguard the people's interests, to protect them from bullying, from hate, from abuse and trolling and defamation on social media platforms. And so while our government has taken the initial steps of bringing in these guidelines, a lot more needs to be done. Australia, right at the helm of affairs in terms of taking on the social media giants, what needs to be seen is whether they'll be able to implement a lot of this and how the platforms respond to it. But at the end of the day, it can't be a free-for-all system. The platforms where all of us spend a large part of our time need to take responsibility for the content that does go on their platforms. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.